Tembagori, APC President, as well as ATM President Vuyo Zungula. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Digital audience, we also have Solly Malatsi from the DA and also Brigadier Atlenda Mate, spokesperson to the National Commissioner. We're going to get to all your comments in the short while. I'm told, Solly, that you have some time constraints. Let's just maybe kick it off with you. I understand that your party has welcomed the High Court decision. The protest, though, will go ahead, but there are certain restrictions in terms of, being prohibited from shutting down schools, for instance. The party, that is the EFF, did say that they will protest within the confines of the law. Why was the need to go to court? If you can unmute, Solly.
No, I'm not on mute.
All right, go ahead. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Good evening, and good evening to all the viewers. Look, it was very important for the DA to pursue the courts, given the public sentiments that were being uttered by various leaders of the EFF, and even social media videos that were going around of EFF members mobilizing communities in loud hailers, indicating that they will unleash anything that stands in front of them for them to proceed, even telling businesses that they will have to close on the day, delivering letters to national key points, including OR Tambo. Our view is that while everyone has the right to protest as is protected in the Constitution, the Constitution equally makes it very clear that there shouldn't be an infringement on other people's rights. And it is with that in mind that we approached the courts for two things. One was to ensure that the various demonstrations by the EFF that will be taking place across the country comply with the requirements for a protest. You would know very well that if anyone wants to protest or to march in any location in the country, they must approach their local municipality for a permit to do so. That permit usually comes with a set of conditions, including the gathering point and the route and the end point for such a demonstration. Secondly, it was to ensure that the EFF retracts all those letters that were being distributed to places of business that they must close on the day in order for the shutdown to proceed. And the reality of the situation is that, one, the South African economy has already taken a massive knock over the last 2 years. And to invite another day of loss of economic activity would continue to have devastating impact on many ordinary South Africans who only earn by going to work.
But what about the argument? The pushback would be, we can't sit idle. We have to say something. What's your response to that?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, your response to the pushback or criticism to your comment that would say, look, we can't sit idle. We need to do something. Taking to the streets is one route. How would you respond to that?
Look, the reality, as I indicated from the onset, that there is a way to protest that complies with the laws of this country, and that does not threaten to unleash violence on those individuals who are not partaking in the protest, because it is important that everyone's rights are protected, even the right of others not to participate in this protest or to have their lives disrupted or their businesses being coerced into closure simply because one political party wants to bring the country to a standstill.
All right, I wanted to speak to Brigadier Mate. Let's bring you in. Good to have you on the program. We need some clarity on some issues pertaining to tomorrow. In a statement, I saw the EFF statement, it says, I just want to read it to you. No one, not even the police, have the right to undermine a peaceful demonstration or protest. And they go on to say that they're calling on all protesters to defend themselves from anyone who provokes them with violence. How do you respond to that?
Okay, a very good evening and thank you for the opportunity. As the SAPS, through the National Joint Operational and Intelligence Structure, we are assuring the nation that we have put measures in place to ensure the safety and security of everyone living in South Africa. We have mobilized resources to heighten and increase police visibility and resources
Oh, we have some issues there. Brig, we'll try to come back to you in a short while. Let's go to Tembagodi first of all. Welcome once again. Important issues to discuss, right? No one is doubting that the issues are real, the issues of electricity, etc. But is this the best possible route to take in order to get the attention of those who control our near future?
Well, I must say that going out on the street is a sign of frustration and a result of non-responsiveness to the challenges that are facing everyday South Africans. As for us as the APC, you recall the SABC covered our marches to ESCOM last year in 7 provinces. And to all of that, there's been no response. And what we've seen, it's a deterioration. And surely people cannot sit idle. The ANC cannot mismanage and mislead in peace. They have to be pushed in order to change course. And the pity about the whole situation is that the narrative now seems to be just on possible violence, with nothing being said about what measures are being taken to address these issues in a manner that will say, we want to render your protest meaningless because we are actively addressing these issues. None of that is being mentioned. And I feel we are being pushed towards a particular narrative without focusing on the issues on the table.
Do you think that there's this distraction to the issue of violence, real or perceived, and the real issues are being missed here? Having said that, is this the way to go in terms of taking to the street en masse to signal to the authorities that enough is enough?
Definitely. You know, if you can look at the past 3 days, the load shedding has gone down. If you can check the police visibility, it has gone way up. And if you can ask yourself, all of these times, all of these years, why has the government not actually delivered when it comes to providing police visibility, which gives us that impression that the mechanisms are there, the resources are there, but what lacks from the government, it is the actual political will to actually deal with the issues that are affecting the people. If by the government fearing that a march on the 20th is going to expose their mismanagement and they respond by bringing so many police, the question would be, when people are shot en masse in Soweto, why were the police not deployed there? When people are terrorized by illegal miners, why are they not sent there? So we are seeing an arrogant government, because a government that is not arrogant would have said, what are the issues? And these are the steps that we are taking to address those issues. But we are having an arrogant and paranoid government that is saying this is part of regime change, whereas it is not. It is part of holding the executive accountable. We've tried in Parliament through motions of no confidence, Section 89 impeachment processes. We've tried also approaching Chapter 9 institutions, your SARS, and they are protecting this person that is failing. Therefore, the people, which is the citizens of the country, must take it upon themselves to actually express their frustrations through a peaceful demonstration. We've witnessed many marches of the EFF and many other people. There's been no violence, but the narrative that is pushed here now is that there'll be violence simply because they do not want the people to focus on the issues. They want to mislead the people and create a narrative that there'll be violence. And I would not be shocked, lastly, that even the government can sponsor people to wear ATM t-shirts, EFF t-shirts, APC t-shirts, and be violent because they want to distract people from focusing on the issues, but to focus on.
Do you think that's a real threat?
Yeah, it's definitely. If you look,
some are calling it agent provocateurs. I think that's the term being used. I wanted to ask Brigadier Mata in terms of how they're being proactive to weed out certain elements that wants to go down the route of violence. But what intel are you getting with regards to that?
Look, we know the ANC and how it operates. Look at other political parties. They even deploy people to political parties to try and destabilize those political parties from within. So I would not be surprised, because what is blatantly clear is that the ANC can see that it is not fit to lead the country. So their mission now is to try and destabilize or destroy the image of any other party that has got the support of the people, any other organization, any other demonstration that is getting the support of the people. So that is basically what is going to happen.
Solly, with regards to the issue of protests and voting. Two mechanisms important in order to get improved service delivery, you would agree. The DA has had its fair share of protest actions or marches. I wonder what has fundamentally changed and how that informs your overview or look at the relationship between protests and voting.
Look, nothing has changed. I mean, you know, the difference between the right to protest and peaceful engagement and this purported shutdown is that the purported shutdown intends to also infringe on the rights of others. And that is something that we are against, and that is why we took the proactive step that we took with pursuing the matter to the court, so that the courts of this country can, one, underscore the importance of abiding to the laws of this country, and secondly, protecting the rights of law-abiding South Africans. There are millions of law-abiding South Africans who want to go on with their lives tomorrow. There are millions of entrepreneurs who want to open their businesses tomorrow, and it is unfair on them to have their businesses closed or their lives disrupted simply because one organization wants to do that. Secondly, it is important, yes, that ultimately the channel to change governments or to vote for a government that people want is through the ballot. And that is ultimately where political parties contest the power at. That is at the ballot. But we cannot have a situation wherein we promote or condone the use of inflammatory language that intends to infringe on the rights of others. I don't think it is on to have reps of political parties, for instance, going into private businesses, you know, climbing on top of tills, urging people that they shouldn't be opening. Because the reality is that while they exercise their right, they are undermining other people's rights.
Right. Themba, some have argued that protests work, but not in the time frame and the way we expect it to work. Do you think we have unrealistic expectations in terms of getting results from protests?
Well, look, to achieve anything, it's a process, and protests themselves are part of that process. And I wish we had spent the half hour talking about the issues, because if the issues are addressed, then you take away the need, you know, to protest. But instead, we're focusing on the threat. And for some of us who are disciples of Robert Sobukwe, on the eve of the Sharpeville shooting, we know very well that he has warned who benefits from violence. Surely cannot be the poor people who are struggling. So we're very clear. Our main focus is on the issues that affect the people and the need for solutions that the incompetent ANC government is failing to do. And they're trying to cover it up by bringing up issues that take away the focus from the fact that they are failing the country and they need to be held accountable. So from where I'm standing tomorrow, Kruger Square in Tshwane will be there. There will be no violence. There should be no issues. It does not serve our cause. Instead, it actually obscures the issues. We want the issues to come to the fore so that we can debate the issues.
Let's talk about the issues, Vuyo, and the use of social media in that regard. Do you think it adds or takes away from the credibility or the credence of these issues in this day and age? Do you think it detracts from it in any way?
Look, just now, one of the videos that was shown was the video of the looting of 2021. So I think the greatest responsibility lies on the mainstream media, because the messaging that is coming out from the mainstream media is that of violence. Look, that's the video as we're speaking now. Now, what does that say? Psychologically, people are being made to believe tomorrow there's going to be such violence. Has any party promised violence? The answer is no. Also, look at the DA. The DA marched to Luthuli House, and I can assure you, when they were marching to Luthuli House, the street hawkers on that street were affected. The taxi drivers that use that route were affected. Now, it cannot be that when now, when it's convenient for them, they're saying that other people's lives must not be affected by protests, whereas when they are protesting, other people's lives get to be affected as well. So in our view as the ATM, tomorrow is going to be a peaceful day, and we agree with Tatana Godi when he's saying, let us focus on the issues, because Mr. Ramaphosa has failed. If you can look at the track record from 2018 up until now, 47 people were killed beginning of 2018 per day. Now we're talking about 72 people killed on a daily basis. Unemployment was sitting at 25%. Now it is sitting at 35%. The growth of debt to GDP has gone very, very high. So if you look at all indicators, there's not even one indicator a person can say, Mr. Ramaphosa has turned things around for the country. And people cannot sit idle and hope that one day things will come right. But they need to take a stand, and a protest, a peaceful protest, is one of the mechanisms that people are actually taking a stand, because this is their only country. It is their interest that the government of the country actually governs well, because if the government is not governing well, it is the people that are killed. It is the people that sleep every day on an empty stomach. That is why we want to encourage all South Africans to peacefully protest and peacefully take a stand that they cannot, it cannot be business as usual. And the government can't relax. Mr. Ramaphosa and his cabinet can't relax and enjoy their time, whereas people are struggling, because the people are getting killed like flies. Therefore, it is their right as a people to take a stand, because it is the only way in which the country can turn from bad to, can turn things around, so that we do not continue in this direction whereby the country is leading towards being a failed state.